partner. Ari reached out and grabbed hold of David's arm. "Saw," he said, looking at the seesaw. It was too hard for him to look right at David, but he hoped he would understand. "Hey," David said. He tried to twist away, but Ari tugged harder. "Why are you touching my shirt?" Ari wanted to ask him to come on the seesaw with him, but the words just didn't come out. David didn't know what Ari wanted, so he ran to the swings as Ari alone went to play in the sandbox. That night, Ari lay in his bed feeling sad. He closed his eyes and said to Hashem, "Hashem, you made the whole entire world. You made each creature, large and small. You taught the cat to meow and the rooster to crow, the sheep to baa and the owl to hoot. Everyone in your world shares their words in their own special voice. Please, Hashem, help me learn to share my words too." And then he fell asleep. A few days later, Ari was back at the playground. It was a beautiful day, and the seesaw beckoned, its shiny metal seat winking at him in the sunlight. How he wanted to ride. He was about to go over to his big sister when another boy walked by. Yaakov was new to the park. Ari had never seen him before. Maybe he would like to play. That's Yaakov. Ari reached out and grabbed hold of Yaakov's arm. "Saw," he said, "saw." It was hard to say those words, and his voice didn't come out very clear. Yaakov stopped short, confused. "Hey," he said, "why are you touching?" But just then, something wonderful happened. Ari's big sister, Mia, walked past. She saw Ari's arm on the new boy. She saw him look over at the seesaw, and she heard his mumbled request. "Look," Mia said to Yaakov, "this is my brother Ari. He can't speak very well, but he's telling you something with his actions. And if you listen with your heart, you can hear what he's saying." Yaakov stopped trying to twist away. He paused and watched Ari carefully. He listened and thought and waited longer than he ever had before to understand. He saw Ari look at the seesaw. He remembered how he had said, "saw." He tried to listen with his heart so he could hear. And then he said, "Oh, seesaw? Do you want to go on the seesaw?" Yes, Ari's heart felt like it would burst. Yes, he thought. Yes, that's exactly right. He smiled a big happy smile and said, "Seesaw." Yaakov and Ari ran to the seesaw, and Ari was the happiest boy in the playground. Yaakov was happy too, because Ari knew just how to push his feet off the ground and make the seesaw come crashing down the other side. The boys played for a long time. That night, Ari lay in his bed. He thought about the things he loved and the words he wished he could say. And he said to Hashem, "Hashem, you made the whole entire world. You made the warm sun and the tall trees. You made each creature, large and small. You taught them each their own sounds and their own voice. Please, Hashem, help me learn to say my words strong and loud. And until then, Hashem, please help my friends learn to listen with their hearts so they can hear me even when it's hard for me to speak." And he thought about his new friend Yaakov, and then he fell asleep with a big, happy smile on his face. The end. And that's the end of the book. Thank you for listening, everybody. I don't know if we're ready for the next story, but if you have any questions, you can unmute yourself and you can ask them. Or unless we're ready for our next story. Okay. Thank you everybody for listening. You guys are amazing listeners. Thank you for listening. I hope that that book helps you. If you ever see a little boy or girl who doesn't know how to speak, or maybe their words, maybe they know how to say words, but they don't come out so clearly. Maybe they have a stutter and the words take a long time to come out. You can practice listening by listening with your heart. And that's the end of the story. Thank you for listening. Good night.
Fine, you can make me a bow. I'll say no first.
It looks like the host is not here, so I guess I'll continue. I'll introduce myself. I'm Dasi Prus, and here with Yossi Prus. And I'm here, we're gonna read to you the Purim book that I wrote. And actually my Purim book, I made it in 3 different sizes. So I have the great big Purim book. And then I have the regular size Purim book, fits perfect in the screen. And then I have, what we have here is the mini Purim book. Now, we were thinking before we started, which one should I use tonight to read the story to you? And we just decided at the end that what I'm gonna use to read the story to you is gonna be a slideshow. Last year, during COVID, a lot of shluchos were teaching Purim over Zoom. And so I made my book onto a slideshow so you can see the pictures very well. Maybe some of you have the book in your house. So the slideshow will be something new tonight. Okay, so give me a second. I'm gonna screen share it. And here we have it, the Purim story, the Purim book. And give me one more second. Here we go. And we are on. Okay, the Purim book. It's the story of Esther, and I wrote it together with Shoshana Lipan. Okay, before we start the story, a few of the slides are going to be a little introduction what happened before the Purim story. After the Jewish people, the Yidden got the Torah, and all the Yidden that were living in Eretz Yisrael were living in Israel, and there they had the first Beis Hamikdash, until along came a king. His name was Nebuchadnezzar, and he came and he destroyed the Beis Hamikdash. And that was so sad. And then what he did was he took the Yidden and he forced them, he made them leave Israel, Yishalayim, and leave Eretz Yisrael and go to Bavel. He was the king of Bavel. And they see them crying. And when the Yirmiyahu, the Navi, told the Yidden that in 70 years, you're gonna come back to Eretz Yisrael, come back to Israel, and you're gonna rebuild the Beis Hamikdash. Now, the king, at the time of the Purim story, his name was Ahasuerus, and he lived in Shushan, and he made a calculation. He counted 70 years, and he said, ha, 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 the 70 years are over. And he's so happy. He doesn't want the Yidden to go back. And he said, I am so happy. I am going to make a party. And that's how the Purim book that I'm going to do starts. Oh, well, almost. Yeah, so I said that already. And now we're going to introduce the Purim characters. And there's Ahasuerus, Queen Esther, Vashti, sorry. Mordechai, Queen Esther, and Haman. And now we're ready to start. In the days of Ahasuerus in Shushan long ago, the king made a party and asked everyone to go. Said the wise man Mordechai, Please don't go along. At the king's party, we Jews do not belong. Some rush there anyway to try to please the king. They forgot that it's the one above who's in charge of everything. Ahasuerus served rich food and wine and then called to his queen, "Come and do a show for us. Your beauty must be seen." But Queen Vashti refused to come, and she announced out loud, "Why should I, Her Majesty, parade before the crowd?" "What should I do?" asked the angry king, "when the queen does not obey?" "I know," cried an advisor. "You must send her away." Soon, the king grew lonely without Vashti, his wife. So he called a beauty contest to choose a queen for life. The king sent men to every city to bring him ladies nice and pretty. Mordecai took care of his cousin Esther. With wisdom and beauty, Hashem had blessed her. She loved Torah and mitzvahs that make the world bright. She would light Shabbos candles before Friday night. She did not want to leave her warm Jewish home. It was the happiest place she had ever known. So Esther hid out of sight. She stayed in the house all day and night. But the king's men found her anyway and brought her to the palace right away. They offered Esther fancy dresses, but she refused the clothes. She saw the other girls and prayed, "Let the king pick one of those." Esther was in for a difficult test. The king spotted her and liked her the best. She kept it a secret that she was a Jew. What nation was she from? Nobody knew. Esther was the queen now. The palace was her place. And at the gate sat Mordecai to help her just in case. One day he heard the palace guards plot to poison the king. He quickly went to Esther and told her everything. Thanks to Mordecai, Ahasuerus was saved. And in the royal record book, Mordecai was praised. Now Haman, the second to the crown, ordered the people to bow down. But Mordecai bowed to Hashem alone, no matter who was on the throne. Haman was filled with anger at Mordecai the Jew. How dare he stand and not bow down? I'll teach him who is who. Of course, he was not satisfied to hurt just Mordecai. "Oh no, I'll punish all the Jews," was Haman's wicked cry. With a lottery he chose, went to fight the Jewish people. In the month of Adar, he would do this evil. "There's a people," he told the king, "who should be destroyed because they're separate from the others and don't listen to your laws. Please stamp my decree with the royal ring, and these silver coins I'll pay." "Keep the money," said the king, "and use my ring anyway." The king let Haman send out men to publicize the news. In a year from now, we'll get rid of all the Jews. Whoever's coloring on the screen, if you can please stop. Mordecai told Esther, "You must beg the king for life. Perhaps this is the reason that you became his wife." Here we go. No one could go in to see the king without an invitation. But Esther said, "I'll risk my life to try and save my nation. Please go out and tell the Jews to fast for me 3 days. No one eats, no one drinks, and everybody prays. Then I'll go to see the king and try to change his mind. I pray that he will let me live and to the Jews be kind. She has a worried look on her face. Esther dressed in royal clothes and stood near the king's door. He raised his golden scepter so she could come in more. What do you wish? Asked the king. Half my kingdom is yours, my dear. Esther said, please come with Haman to a party I'm having here. Haman was so proud to be the queen's important guest. But seeing Mordecai, the Jew, still gave him no rest. Said Zeresh, his wife, raise up a pole 50 measures high and ask the king if you can hang that stubborn Mordecai. Ahasuerus couldn't sleep that night, so his men read to him by candlelight. They told of a plan to poison the king and of Mordecai who stopped this terrible thing. Said the king, what reward did he get? No reward, at least not yet. Then Haman came in and the king asked him, tell me, what should be done for the special man I wish to thank? Haman was sure he was the one. Haman smiled, puffed up with pride and said, I know, of course. March him through the city streets with the king's own robe and horse. Then Haman came in and the king asked him, tell me, what should be done for the special man I wish to thank? Haman was sure he was the one. Haman smiled, puffed up with pride and said, I know, of course. March him through the city streets with the king's own robe or horse. I read it already. A servant should walk in front of me and call out loud and clear, this is what's done for the man the king holds very dear. Okay, said the king, go right ahead and do the thing that you have said. For the faithful man named Mordecai who sits at my gate with a watchful eye. Haman obeyed, but boy was he mad. Zeresh says, it's just too bad. Once you fall before the Jews, you'll never win, you'll only lose. At Esther's feast, with Haman there, Ahasuerus asked Esther fair and square, what is it that you want, my wife? She said, dear king, please save my life. Who wants to hurt you? Who is so mean? It's this evil Haman, said the queen. And a servant said, he put a pole up high for the king's friend Mordecai. The king was so angry, his face turned red. Let it be used for Haman instead. Now that he knew his queen was a Jew, Ahasuerus said something new. On the 13th of Adar, all Jews can fight. Defend yourself, it's only right. My queen's a Jew and Mordecai too. Don't let anybody bother you. On that day, there was great news, a miraculous victory for the Jews. Everything got turned around. The ones atop came crashing down. Instead of the Jewish people being sad, they were thankful and very glad. The story of Esther was written in a scroll, and every year the tale is told. Purim became a holiday which we celebrate to this day. We learn to trust only the one above, who watches over us with love. And even when he hides his face, he's always with us in every place. And I hope you enjoyed the story. And I want to just show you before something new, that if you like that story and you don't have the Pesach book yet, last year the Passover book was new, and this year you're looking the Jewish stores for the Pesach book. It's the same thing, just the words are different. And I hope you enjoyed, and I'm looking forward to hearing the next story.
Okay, Thank you so much. That was such a great story. If any mommies are on and they have friends who are trying to join and are having issues, I just posted a link on the chat for a live stream that if anybody knows someone who's trying to join, the Zoom is not letting anybody else join because so many people decided to join us. But there's a link on the chat over there that you could send it over to your friends. And now the third person who we're going to hear a book for her story, her name is Esti Perman, and she has a really special book all about how Kinderlach are able to talk to Hashem. And it's a really, really great book. And here she goes.
Hi, everybody. I'm so happy to see you today. Thank you so much for coming to join us for this bedtime book, and thank you for staying all the way through till this one. So this is my daughter, Manucha. She does not go to Beis Rivka because we don't live in New York, but she did go to Beis Rivka day camp this summer, and she loved it so much. And this is a book that I wrote I started writing it when she was like 4 years old. And it's just about how we can talk to Hashem. And this book is called From My Heart. Here we go. Hi, Hashem. I have so much to tell you. I'm just one kid in a big world full of people, but you know I'm here and I know you love me. I talk to you a lot. I like to talk to you when I'm happy. Happy days make me feel like saying thank you again and again. Sometimes I talk to you when I'm sad, Hashem. It helps me to tell you all about it. Then when I think of all the good things you've given me, like warm sunshine and people who love me, I feel so much better. I talk to you when I'm scared and I'm not feeling very brave. It helps when I remember that you're the strongest of all, Hashem, and that you're always here with me. Then I feel brave and safe again. Sometimes I talk to you by singing the words from my siddur, even though I can't read yet, but I'm learning. I especially make sure to ask for Mashiach. I can't wait for him to come. Some days I just whisper the words that are in my heart, as quiet as the wind. I know you can hear me, Hashem, even when no one else can, because you're everywhere. Sometimes I ask you to help the people I love, like my friend who's sick and has to stay home. I really miss her. When I ask you to make my friend better, it feels good to know that my davening can help. Also, Hashem, I really, really want a brand new speedy scooter. But you know what, Hashem? I don't always get everything I ask for right away. And sometimes I'm disappointed when your answer is no or not yet. But I still know you listen to every word I say. There is a whole beautiful world all around me, and I can always ask again, maybe even tomorrow. Okay, Hashem, talk to you later. Thanks for listening.
Oh, wow. That is a great book on how to talk to Hashem. All of this was recorded and we're going to be sending it out. So if any mommies want to rewatch it, you can rewatch it a little bit later if you weren't able to join. And just a reminder for all of the mommies who are still here and joined us today is that there is 1 week left to submit. If you want to write your very own book, you have 1 week left to submit a manuscript to branches@betrifka.edu, and you will be entered into a contest with a chance to win $1,000, and we will take care of all of the publishing, and a copy of your book will go into every single Beis Rivka classroom. So good Nacht, everybody. Have a great night. And thank you so much to everybody who joined. And thank you so much to the authors who joined and for the books. And have a great, great night, everybody. It was so great to have everybody join.